Now we'll hear some comments on particularly delivering of learning and how some of the non-government players are involved and what their experiences are.
I was asked to share our experience as a BOT partner. In this context, we would specifically be talking about the computer labs being set up on PPP mode under SSA and RMSA in the country. And the reason why we got into this BOT model is we believe the public-private partnership model is equal applicable to soft infrastructure, education infrastructure, like the way it's applicable for power, water, airports, a lot of other stuff. We are one of the leading players in the country. We have applied very successfully those principles to the core infrastructure, and we believe the similar principles can be made applicable to soft infrastructure, particularly the education technology. We're already present about 25,000 schools, of them 15,000 school on boot basis, but approximately a crore of students getting impacted, about 150,000 teachers. And ICT in education, we are there, a standard, the computer lab under PPP, which is being done, and 6 states. Many of you know about this computer lab, therefore I won't explain. 10-unit configuration with a printer, with TV projection system or integrated device, that kind of infrastructure is provided in every school. There's a portable device that we work on KAN, integrated projector computer loaded with the content used as a mobile, portable, affordable device for education. Digital resources, in fact, we'll be very happy and willing to contribute to the effort being initiated by the ministry to have the educational resources, digital resources online. E-learning, we have been very, very active in terms of virtual experiments, and also mobile-based solutions. Given our experience specifically on computer lab and PPP under SSA, RMS, as I said, that's our focus. You know the whole process, how it gets implemented. Based on this experience of our presence of 10,000 schools, I have essentially a 10-point agenda in terms of suggestions as to how do we improve the efficacy of the ICT infrastructure in schools, particularly, as I said, I'm repeating, experience of computer labs being set up and operated on PPP basis. I think time has come now of developing PPP projects, a contractual framework, and example being approximately 1,000 crore is our exposure to computer labs, the 10,000 computer labs in these states, which is not a small amount. And if you have to invite huge amount of private sector participation here, you have to have this framework. That's first recommendation. Second is the biggest challenge today is that availability of funds. And my assessment is that today about 6 states, the 6 states whom we know, and their requirement alone for computer labs on PPP is close to about 5,000 crore. And 75% of that has to come from the central government. But annual allocation availability is roughly about 300 crores within the government. So where does the rest of the money come from? How does the private sector take exposure? How do they take risk? I think we need to create that. Our recommendation is that can we create an escrow account? For example, one particular state government awards contract to a private sector partner. We know estimated expenditure, it's all committed, the tenders are there, agreement are signed. At least the annual requirement can be put in escrow account, both the state and central government share, and on meeting certain outcomes, then the money gets released. Otherwise, today the school headmaster has to sign, it goes to block, from block to district, district to the state, then UCs have to come, and this whole lot of stuff. And if there is a delay of 6 months in terms of getting money released, the entire viability of the project gets wiped out. At 15%, you borrow money, and every day counts for. Added to that, there is theft. About 10% of the computer labs today get stolen, and so much of risk. The key is that availability and assured availability of funding is important. I think escrow account, several PPP projects, that is practice, can be done here. Third is the capacity building. What UCs to be done? For example, UCs come to central government from the state. The DICE codes are not available. Then the MHRD sends it back. In this process, 3 months is lost. Can we actually build more capacity at the state level in terms of training the manpower, developing the toolkits, also joint coordination mechanism? Like NHAI, National Highway Authority of India, has this practice where the NHAI, state government, and the BOT partner meet every month to address the issues that are there in the implementation. Can we have here similarly BOT partner, state government, central government meet periodically once in 3 months, address the issues so that the process could become smoother? Technology that you know, it has to be very, very, so many specifications across the states are varying. And I think what is affordable, what is good, what is relevant could be prescribed in the form of model specifications by the ministry, which could be improved maybe on an annual basis. Power that can we look at solar kind of solution? And if it is there, then can we also tap money from Ministry of Non-Conventional Energy Sources? It makes it affordable. Otherwise, running diesel set being put there, diesel being put in, that itself leads to a lot of issues in terms of management. I think this is one of the issues that we could look at. Internet connectivity, National Optic Fiber Network, USO fund obligation, when the network gets rolled out, we need to look at how the schools can be hooked into so that connectivity can be addressed. Teacher training, although the existing scheme, ICT school schemes, and does have some provision for teacher training, probably it's inadequate. We need to relook at a continuous kind of training. ICT lab, this is, I think, a very important point. We look at ICT, the lab set up under the scheme in isolation. We don't actually look at in a community perspective. In states like Bihar, I think this lab alone, which is connected to DZ set, is the only one which has power where the access is there, for about 10 villages around. Can we use this lab as a community learning center? Can we use the same lab for skill development? Can we use it for health education? And after 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, the lab is there. I think the moment we pitch this lab as a community learning center, actually the bond between the community and the school also goes up. It becomes an activity center. It's actually very, very good, and its potential is highly, highly underutilized. Now the state governments, some state governments have been planning, for example, Orissa is planning to introduce some of this convergence right in the beginning. This will be very useful. Impact assessment, as Mr. Uma Maheshwaran was saying, the quality is a multi-dimensional aspect. Similarly here, if you want to assess the impact of this lab, we need to have simple, measurable kind of criterion based on which you can assess this lab, this infrastructure has led to these improvements. And at the same time, there shouldn't be unrealistic kind of expectations and could be set. Lastly, it's ICT. It's very dynamic, and we can't have 2008 scheme operating in 2013. So during this process, most of the specs need to be looked at and revised, and it should be made more dynamic. I think these kind of 10 small recommendations that I have, and I'm convinced with the MHRD's vision of bringing in greater partnership amongst the stakeholders. A lot of states are very proactively looking at private sector participation, ICT infrastructure. If we can actually smoothen the policy framework, implementation process, and I'm sure it will be a win-win situation for everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Reddy. I think we've had here the benefit of a person who served in the government and now is serving the government. So I think we have the advantage of both good understanding of challenges, and I think also given ILF's own experience in nurturing the PPP model in other sectors, we have to learn from that experience as well. So I think very well defined issues and some suggested ideas as well.